Hi, so we'll see remainder now. So let's say if 14 is divided by 5. We all know what remainder is. Now how to find the remainder? Let's say 14 is divided by 5. What is the quotient? The quotient is 2, right? 5 twos are 10. And what remains is 4. So here we know that 14 is called the dividend. What is dividend? The integer that is being divided. 14 is being divided by the divisor. What is divisor? The integer that is dividing basically. So 5 is the divisor, 2 is the quotient. Now what's the quotient? The number of times this divisor goes into this 14 completely. For example, 5 goes into 14 twice completely and leaves a remainder 4. So here is the remainder. Okay, so the remainder is always an integer, right? Always a whole number. Basically, remainder can never be negative. So another way you can write is this. This is important. The way you'll need to represent this for the sake of solving questions. We'll see that in the later slides. Okay, so this is what, if any number n is divided by d, the quotient is q and the remainder is r, then n can be written as d into q plus r. Here q can take any values, okay, integers basically. So as you can see, since q is an integer, this dq is a multiple of d, right? Multiple of divisor plus that part remainder, okay? And the first important point is the remainder, like I said, is always greater than or equal to 0 and less than the divisor. For example, if we are dividing by 5, remainders, the set of values that remainder can take is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're dividing by 5, remainder can never be 5, right? Maximum remainder can be 4 and minimum is 0. So that is what they are saying. Quotient can never be non-negative, okay? So non-negative means, yeah, non-negative is 0 and positive, right? So that is true. Quotient can be 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. For example, if I divide 4 with a 7, what is the quotient and remainder? The quotient is 0. There is no quotient, right? And remainder is the numerator itself, 4. For example, you divide 4 by 7. There is nothing that will go into this 4. 7 can never go into 4 completely, right? So this will be 0 and 4 will be the remainder. So whenever there's a proper fraction, okay, the numerator is the remainder itself and quotient is always 0. For example, another one, so 2 upon 5. You divide 2 by 5, there's no quotient. Quotient is 0 and remainder is 2 itself. Remainder is always less than divisor. We have seen if divisor is 5, the maximum remainder can be 4, nothing more. N minus r is always a multiple of d. Obviously, from this, if we see, n minus r is multiple of d because the value is dq, where q can be any integer. So all of these points, I guess, are clear. We'll go to next. The most important part, like I said, for the purpose of solving questions, if an integer, this statement itself is so important. If an integer n when divided by 11 leaves a remainder 4. Some statement like this, okay? A lot of times these type of statements are asked. So here n is the dividend, 11 is the divisor and remainder is 4. And what is the quotient? The quotient can be anything which is q. So how do we write? Dividend is divisor into quotient plus remainder, where q can be any integer. Generally try and substitute q as from 0, non-negative. Remember, quotient from 0 you keep on substituting, and then always once you write this, step 1 is always to write this. Step 2 is you find out some possible values of that integer. Important. So 11q plus 4, so I can have q as 0, q as 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. Okay, so what do I get? 11 into 0 plus 4, 11 into 1, 11 plus 4, 22 plus 4, 33 plus 4, and so on. So these are the possible values of n. Two steps: writing it in the form of the formula. Dividend is divisor into quotient plus remainder, and then finding possible values of the dividend. Okay, so we'll see how questions can be answered basis this concept. When a positive integer n is divided by 36, okay, dividend divisor, the remainder is 24, so n is 36q plus 24. Which of the following must be a divisor of n? Okay, now divisor, what is divisor means? It is divisible completely, or the remainder is 0. There's no remainder. Okay, we have discussed this in factors and divisors, and multiples. Okay, so what can I take common in this? I can take 12 common. So what I'm left with is 3q plus 2. So n is basically a multiple of 12 into 3q plus 2. Okay, if you're not comfortable, what you can do is you can try taking some values of q, right? We have seen, take some values of q. When q is 0, n is 24. When q is 1, 36 into 1 plus 24, 36 into 2 plus 24, 36 into 3 plus 24, and so on. If we solve, n will get values 24, 60, 72 plus 24, 108 plus 24, right? And so on. Now you might want to check with 1. 24 is divisible by 24, yes. 24, is it divisible? 60, is it divisible by 24? The answer is no. So must be, right? It should be divisible by all these values. Now same, now check for 18. Will 24 divide 18? The answer is no, it doesn't divide. So we need not go further. Check for 12. Yes, 12 2s are, 12 5s are, 96 also, 12 8s are, 12 11s are. So definitely 12 is dividing. Okay, over here we can also see, right, n is 12 into some integer. So n is always a multiple of 12. Others you can let go because 9 will not divide. Okay, 24 is not divisible by 9. 8 is divisible 24, but 60 it is not. So you can check. So the answer will be 12. So there are two ways: write the possible values and check the answers, or you can try and find out from here. Once you get this, you know that 12 is the answer. Okay, because there's only one option which is correct. Others may or may not be true, but 12 is definitely true, must be true. Okay, so two ways of solving this question. Now an integer, let's say, let me take as x, when divided by 15 leaves a remainder 11. So how do we write? Dividend is divisor into quotient plus remainder. So mastering this is very important. Q, and it's quite straightforward, nothing else to do. Where q is 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. Which of the following could be a remainder when the integer over is x is divided by 30? So let's take some common values, possible values of n, or x, sorry, in this case. So 15 into 0 plus 11, 15 into 1, which is 15 plus 11, 26, 30 plus 11, 41, When it is 3, 15 threes is 45 plus 11, so 56 and so on. You can take more values if you want. Which of the following could be, okay, not must be. See how the wordings are changing. In the previous question, it's a must. Here it is could be. Could be means a possible remainder, right? Now, when I divide x by 30, so you'll need to divide each and every possible value. I'm dividing each and every by 30 and checking at the possible remainders. Now we have seen if it is a proper fraction, the remainders are the numerators only. So for this 11 and 26, there is no quotient. Quotient is 0. Remainder is the number itself. Now we can see the remainder is 41 is 30 plus 11. So 11 is the remainder. Same for 56, 30 plus 26, right? So the remainder is going on. So the remainders can be either 11 or 26. Now you just have to see the options and check the right answer. Okay, so both are given. Generally, there will be only one option correct, or they will mention, right? More than one. Select all the correct answers if applied. Okay. Now, the next one. If an integer n leaves a remainder 4 and quotient q when divided by 7, okay? A bit confusing. If an integer n leaves a remainder, so remainder is 4 and quotient is q. So I just want to add a point. If it is GMAT, you're not going to be asked this. More than one option is not right. So either only one option will be correct. GRE, sometimes they can ask, select more than one option correct can be asked. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Now this question, n leaves a remainder 4 and quotient q when divide by 7. Okay, everything is given, divisor, quotient and remainder. So I can directly write divisor, quotient and remainder. Okay, the quotient can be anything. Now I can see options are given in terms of q, so I probably need not bother about the substituting of q. Okay, now then find the quotient in terms of q if 2n is divided by 7 and leaves a remainder 1. Okay, interesting, right? So 2n, what is the value of 2n? Because we know n is this. The value of 2n is 7q plus 4, which is 14q plus 8. Now this, they're asking when divided by 7, it leaves a remainder. So find the quotient. Okay. So one way to solve this is 14q plus 8 and you divide by 7, right? The normal long division method is better. So 14q, so I can divide by 2q because this divides completely. 7 into 2q is 14q. So what remains is 8, right? 8 will come here directly. This gets cancelled. So I have 1. Okay, so the remainder is 1, which is matching with what they are saying. And they're asking what is the quotient. The quotient is 2q plus 1. Yes, there is an option which is D. Okay, again you see we are doing nothing, we are just writing the formula and trying to do the normal long division method. Okay, that is all you have to do. Okay, just follow the process, you will get the answer 99.9% of the times, right? A similar question, let's say when a certain number is divided by 9, the remainder is 0. Okay, let the number be n or x or anything. Divided by 9, divisor is 9, quotient is q, the remainder is 0. So q can take values, all of this. So then we'll find possible values of n, right? So when q is 0, so this is basically 9q, right? N is 9q. So multiples of 9, 0, 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, so on. If the remainder is not 0, when the same number, when n is divided by 18, okay? So they are saying you divide n by 18 and see. So let's divide all the values by 18 and check. And so on, right? Now, we have seen proper fractions, the remainder is the numerator only. 18 upon 18 completely divisible, 0 remainder. 27 upon 18, 18 plus 9, 36 is divisible, right? If the remainder is not 0, the remainder must be, of course the remainder is 0 or 9, right? If the remainder is not 0, then the remainder has to be, must be 9. Okay, this option should not be given because anyways the remainder is not 0 is given in the question itself. So the answer is C. Again, the steps are the same. Write the format and put the values and see whatever they're asking. Okay, probably we'll do one more question. When the positive integer n is divided by 6, the remainder is 4. Okay, same way. Excuse me. Yeah. N when divided by 6, the remainder is 4. What is the remainder if 5n is divided by 6? Okay. So I can take possible values of n. Same way let's solve, right? Possible values of n is when n is 0, it is 4. N is 1, 6 plus 4. N is 2, 12 plus 4. N is 3, 18 plus 4, and so on. But they're asking the remainder if 5n. So values or the possible values of 5n. So you multiply all the terms by 5, right? 20, 4 5s are 10 5s are 50, 16 5s are 80, 22 5s are 110, and so on. Now what is this value if, what is the remainder if 5n is divided by 6? So what we'll need to do is divide each and every number by 6 and see what is the remainder we are getting. So you all can see that 20 upon 16, the remainder is 2, right? 18 plus 2. 50 is 48 plus 2. 80 is 78 plus 2. You need not solve further. Once you get two answers which are 2, you know that the answer is correct. Okay. So I hope the concept of remainder is clear. It's quite straightforward. Just understand the nitty-gritties. At higher levels, these are I can say medium to higher level questions what we have solved. And I'll see you in the next class. Okay. Thank you.